Hi, everybody. See if I'm on. Day 1600 and 35. 1635 days. Make sure everything's working. It's been a pretty crazy day. Again, breaking news again. And we can only reveal what we can. Because so much is happening. We have 3 days? We're burning the midnight oil, I see. We have 3 days until we have a new administration. We have MAGA. MAGA is coming. And, if it wasn't, burning the midnight oil, I'd be all energetic and very hopeful because of the information that's coming in. We're, of course, we have ties to El Paso before Richard, right? Our son, we're at 1,635 days since he was brutally murdered, premeditatedly murdered, a code red. Code red, that's from Leilani Hart. The prime suspect called it a code red. Of course, we have a robust uh, pile of evidence, amount of evidence that shows that it is a government sanctioned cover up, a government sanctioned murder. Absolutely. And at what level would be the correct question? At what level? And where did the buck stop, right? Where did the buck stop? So because there is an internal, I would say an internal war going on in our agencies, and we know that because of the last 4 years, we have absolutely seen the weaponization of our military, the weaponization or the I would say the generals, the weaponization of the generals against their service members during the whole mandate thing. You have young, beautiful volunteer sons and daughters that are at the prime of their life, and they had zero chance of really being at threat, being and now we have reports that all of that created a lot of healthcare issues and deaths. And so we had this betrayal. We had something going on in our generals that they were serving foreign and domestic enemies of the country, of MAGA, and which stands for Make America Great Again, which means to defend the Constitution, the rule of law, and they've betrayed that. And we saw, in Richard's case, the FBI there in El Paso absolutely is compromised. That the DA's office was absolutely uh, um, it's a long story, compromised, and then um, to plan, to scheme, to remove and replace a duly elected district attorney, and then be compromised and be a usurper. We see that the El Paso Criminal Law Magistrate Court is compromised. We see that the chief medical examiner of El Paso is compromised, is illegal. He's illegal. The system, the office has been compromised, and we see that Fort Bliss has been compromised. And now, and I wanted to post it up, I'm working on like about 10 different things we are working on the article that came out about Fort Bragg, Fort Liberty, with Caleb Smither being featured, Enrique Roman Martinez being featured, and others. And you're thinking, okay, we have 36, 37 trillion dollars in debt. Where did it go? Where did that go? Because it sure didn't go for our military, right? It didn't go for our military. Look at the military basis. You're supposed to have creeds, you're supposed to have discipline, and the generals, they absolutely, it's obvious that the four-star generals are serving a foreign and domestic enemy because of their failure in leadership, their absolute failure in readiness, their absolute failure in any victories, and and the absolute negligence. And I think it's on purpose. It looks like it. It really looks like it with all the evidence that they want our volunteer sons and daughters not mentally or physically healthy. And this is, just corroborates that they don't care, that they don't have the best interest of the lives of our volunteer sons and daughters, and that uh, substantiates or uh, whatever word is proper to use, underlines the allegations that we are making, that they absolutely um, uh, covered up, looked the other way, ordered the murder of our son because he was whistleblowing on their illegal activity that is called criminal trafficking. And you can call it human trafficking, you can call it weapons and ammunition trafficking, you can call it child sex trafficking, you can call it narcotics trafficking. Narcotics trafficking alone is $90 billion a year. And then, that's tax free. That's tax free, and it's tax free, and it's also the overhead is super cheap when the American people are paying for it because they're using our defense budget, that they're using our defense budget, and they're using our military installations, and they're using our volunteer sons and daughters, and more to do their evil criminal syndicate trafficking, and in conjunction with the cartels, and they themselves becoming a cartel. And I call the one in El Paso the El Paso cartel. And this has to, we have what, 3 days left. And I'm really praying, and I'm hopeful from what I'm hearing that, um, because our lives are in danger for calling out this disgusting situation that we're in. Like we have to be afraid in our own country, in our own home. And not that I'm afraid, I'm not afraid, but in our own home. But I'm absolutely aware of the hell that they've put us through, because it's hell. The hell that they've put us through and the danger that they have put us through. And, we have to stand up. We have to stand up against it for our soldiers' sake, for our country's sake, um, for other countries' sake, because, if we are run down, there's so many countries that depend on us. And if they run us down into the ground, those other countries are also at huge risk. And, we have responsibilities, believe it or not. When you are a successful economic powerhouse like the United States is, and other countries depend on you, then you have responsibilities. So not only do we have responsibilities for Make America Great Again, you know, that transcends, right? That is a domino effect to other countries. And Mexico it's like almost at war because we don't have our act together. We don't have our act together, but I think that those days are numbered. Um, I think that the agenda to destroy the United States, because I think that's what it was. There's no other way to explain it. The agenda in order to destroy the United States, I think they lost. I think they lost. And, the golden age, um, the return to the Constitution, the return to the rule of law, the return to the people and the land, and loyalty to the people and the land. That's what MAGA stands for. Loyalty to the people and the land of this country. I think that is what has returned. And I'm really praying that we're right. And we have a good track record, right? We've been right all along on just about everything. I think just about. I don't know what we've been wrong about. We've been right, um, and now we are getting information because of the victory that is upon us. It's a victory that's upon us. It's like touchdown, and then a double bonus. Then a double, not a field goal, but another a two pointer that comes through. That's where we're at right now. It's real victory, and and they're calling it the golden age. And so, with our connections, with MAGA, with our connections, um, with El Paso, with Team Fine Richard Halliday, you know, and then also in discussions with Dolores Montanez, who's been, very active in this pursuit to get justice for Richard. Um, she reminded us, one, we discovered that she is an agent for the Veterans Administration. So not only is she a pilot, but she's a agent for the Veterans Administration. She has a long history with law enforcement, with the border, with small businesses. She has, huge history with veterans. She is a veteran. Um, and so, that is, uh, you know, um, all good to know. But we didn't know that she was an agent for the Veterans Administration, which is very important information. And that reminded us of Lilani Hart's October 2020 confession. Now, most of you that have been part watching this case, you know of the July 22nd, 2020 confession that is a sworn affidavit that was accepted by the FBI. That she confessed to and implicated her family in the worst type of crimes against children, and facilitating worst types of crimes against children, and filming having those kind of films, the worst kind of crimes against children. And they're just up to no good, and illegal purchases of weapon. And her it seems like she has immigration problems. Okay, that's the other thing that was in there that was such a big deal. She has some immigration problem. So but that's not the confession that I was reminded of with this whole VA thing. Of course, we know that there is some fraud going on in Richard's case when it comes to the VA. Where is his remains, right? And um, with the chief medical examiner being compromised, and the medical examiner's office being compromised, and the chief medical examiner being illegal. And where's people calling that out? Whistleblowers are so retaliated against. I think that they're all afraid. Um, so with all of that, and Chris Martin plays a big role in this. It makes us focus on the Veterans Administration, because they handle the deaths of the death paperwork and everything of soldiers, and the veterans disability benefits, all of that and much more. The out processing, Richard's out processing, all of that would go through the VA. And so we know we have huge indication of the fraud that was committed against Richard and against our family, because of access of information. From the very beginning, it was absolutely clear that the individuals that were threatening us, that were intimidating us, that were bullying us and harassing us, were internal. They were internal because they had access to sensitive information, right? They had access, and they were leaking it. They were, um, using it in their intimidation and everything. And praise God that our family is pretty sparkling clean, very sparkling clean, and they really didn't have a lot to work on. They were trying to twist a few things, but what that did reveal, and we brought it up in the first Task Force Find Richard Halliday meeting in front of over 15 agencies, like the ATF and the Interpol and CID and FBI and DEA and Department of State and Department of Homeland Security, and um, on and on, right? The sheriffs, the marshals, the military for the Mexican military, and just on and on. It's huge. It's bigger than any other case. I don't know of any case that's as big as Richard's case when it comes to agencies involved. I don't know of any other case that comes near it. That comes near that even is would compete with Richard's case. So in front of that meeting, in front of all of those agencies, it was me. My husband did his part, but I confronted them with the leaks that were going on, clear leaks, interagency leaks, in this international murder case and cover up case and whistleblower case. So, that was something we have been aware of for a long time, and that they had they had access. It could have been authorized access, but yet they were misusing their access, and leaking the information, which is absolutely criminal. And so, but this October, this confession by Leilani Hart, is an October 2020 confession. And I have it right here. Um, and it really alleges so much misbehavior in the processing of soldiers' disability benefits, because, of course, her family not only infiltrated the CID, right, the Fort Bliss CID, but also the IDS Pueblo, um, which is the determining the board that determines if a soldier is fit uh, to go to war, right? And then all of the disability benefits, right? So if that's in the wrong hands, if that kind of power is in the wrong hands, that's an open purse to commit all kinds of fraud. And it also is a manipulation of so many individuals. And we have names of the individuals that have been, we believe, really manipulated and been given these disability benefits when they're absolutely fit to work. They're absolutely fit for service and for work. And so, but just the access to sensitive, personal, protected information. Also the forging. She accuses, of forging people's names when they're not even there. So there is a lot of like impersonation, and we know that Richard also has been impersonated, and that his file, and he had Bitcoin, y'all. And Bitcoin is like 100,000. He had Bitcoin, and it's just his file absolutely has been manipulated, and we know that his personal effects and even the car, absolutely was they lied to us about our son's car and what happened with the car. And we really trusted them, and they lied to us. They absolutely lied to a Gold Star family. They knew that Richard was dead, and they absolutely fraud, waste, and abuse used this case. And they have a history. That's what I'm saying. What Leilani Hart's confession clearly lets everyone know is that the Hart family has a history of committing fraud, of committing, uh, uh, you know, um, illegal activities with the access that they have in the job that they have, and that they absolutely disregard our country, our Constitution, the rule of law, the service of the veterans, their families, that they absolutely have no regard for them, and that they absolutely, this corroborates that they do have uh, the propensity to do violence, the propensity to do harm, the propensity to murder, and that they absolutely have the propensity to cover up, to commit fraud, to forge, to steal identities, to manipulate accessed files. They absolutely. So this also corroborates the whistleblower, Judge Roger Rodriguez's report of this kind of intentional interference in the murder case of Richard, and also the whistleblowing case, and also the cover up case. That there is interference, intentional interference, and that it is the tampering of files that they can access. And absolutely, the Hart family has access to both through Tavita Nusa at the time, to CID files and the coaching of, whatever retaliatory files she wants to submit, and then also um, to the VA, that access to the VA system, and all of that sensitive information. So that is really, thank you, Anicia, for coming on. Thank you, Danielle. Now, um, oh, uh, just to what extent that they manipulated the disability benefits, the death benefits, the system, to what extent. That's why this is a call for an audit, right? This is a call for an audit. We absolutely think that the call for an audit is necessary, and they need to look at the process first. Look at the process of the disability benefits with Lalani Hart. Um, we know through this confession that, she gets full disability benefits, and she was a dental, she worked in the um, dental office. But she gets full, and doesn't have to pay property taxes and all of that. We know that. We've known it for a long time. And, you know, um, but but now we have enough evidence to say, look, uh, an audit needs to seek the process out if there was fraud, if there was undue influence, nepotism, because, if she has a family member that, it, uh, or others that work at the VA, that work in that office, that can manipulate files, and, you know, you know, it's like keeping benefits away from those that really need them. Um, it's really disgusting. It's heartbreaking. And that's why, absolutely this call for an audit, into her benefits. Um, so that is, really breaking news. And, we have, a lot to substantiate why, we're calling for that. And we know that the veterans administrations have problems, right? And it seems to be very severe. Yeah. Yeah. So that's a huge step. And then there's, that article, um, the article with Enrique Roman Martinez, with Caleb Smither. And, Enrique Roman Martinez is, his case is very comparable to Richard's. Unlike Caleb Smither seemed to have been injured. I don't know all the details, but seemed to have been injured and severely in his head, I guess, and maybe his neck. And he was in his room. People were supposed to be checking up on him. He ended up uh, passing away in his room. Nobody checked on him. I think, I even read they were supposed to bring him food and water and check on him. But he was in the barracks room and no one checked on him. And he was in the fifth stage of decomposition before anyone discovered him. And that is absolutely, I understand that that can kind of happen, like someone that's living alone in an apartment or a house, and no one, goes over there for a few days. I can understand how that can happen. But in a barracks on Fort Bragg, come on, that's now called Fort Liberty. But on Fort Bragg, really? No, no. Every barracks needs to be checked every morning, every night. It doesn't matter if it's a holiday, you check those barracks. That's military. There's no excuses. We need to be prepared at all times. And, that's what I've always understood about the military. And so there is just no excuse for no one checking up on Caleb Smither. And I hope that Heather absolutely wins every case that she has, right? And then Enrique Roman Martinez, who, it's just another one of those mandate issues. But he was just trying to get out to a island off of North Carolina. He's also Fort Bragg, just to be able to literally breathe, right? Without these treasonous generals, uh, being tyrannical and destructive of our young people. and a group of them went out to this island, and I don't know what happened out there. I just know that he lost his life. He was forcibly removed from his tent because his glasses were in his tent. And he didn't go anywhere without his glasses. He was blind without his glasses. And that he was forcibly removed, and and they don't have his body, right? They don't have his body. And so that is very, you can absolutely compare Enrique Roman Martinez's case with Richard's case. Um, and I'm really sad about that. Of course, everyone's sad about that. The the amount of agencies used for those cases are small, though, are very small. When it comes to the agencies of Richard, it's huge. It's absolutely huge. And that's what we want to know. We want to know all the details of why so many agencies were involved in this international murder case of trafficking, criminal trafficking. That is our son's murder case. So that is connected, his unit connected to the Walmart mass shooting case, which is, and also his case connected to the hundreds of thousands of, taken children that are now mostly dead. Um, that's huge. And then of course, there's uh, others that we can go on and on. But those are the really big cases. It's just such a huge case. It's such a big scandal. It's such a big disgrace. And when you have such a big disgrace like this, it takes a lot of grace to get justice. It does. It takes a lot of grace. So, and we show that every day just by being patient and working to get all the leads, get all the evidence, organize all the evidence, and um, file all the evidence. Absolutely. That's, we're being very patient to do that, um, because sometimes, it is, when you are facing this kind of evil, um, and you are absolutely a go army person. Yeah, but you've got to absolutely use the law. Use the law. The law is your best friend. It is absolutely worth defending. And so, as we are pursuing justice for our son Richard, for those that did this to him and covered up, and other things, we are also pursuing Richard's remains. We want our son's remains. So thank you, everyone. Thank you all. And I'll let you know more about the audit of the VA, but that is a very, very important aspect of this whole case. So please share, and good night. Thank you so much. God bless. And I'll be back tomorrow.